And another one. Hey guys, welcome back for another ASMR true crime series. That's a mouthful. Okay guys, so once again, this will be a soft-spoken ASMR for you. And if you guys notice anything different, the quality should be a ton better than in my other videos. I am actually recording on my nice beautiful DSLR camera. I love it. Instead of my MacBook. So let's hop right into it, guys. So I usually bring you a true crime story that I'm just like captivated but I wanted to do something a little different. I'm pulling up some notes on my phone, so if you will just bear with me. I wanted to speak on a missing persons case. Start talking about a little bit of this on my channel. I want to do at least one case a week, so you guys let me know what you think. Also, timeout. Skirt. Stop right there. I don't know if you've noticed, but if you look right there, you'll notice that my channel name has changed, you guys. So I have decided that I'm going to switch up my channel a bit, and that's one of the great things about being a small YouTuber. You can do whatever the hell you want to do, baby. So I changed my channel name to Little Miss Mystery because it seems like that's what's getting the most views on my channel. That's what I am most interested in capturing and doing, and I have a kitty on my lap right now. So now I may do different styles of mystery stories. Some may be in ASMR format, some may be a regular speaking voice, some may be while I'm doing my makeup. I don't know. But what I do know is, what she does know is, what she knows is this. I just hit 100 subscriber, baby. I am so excited. You guys, I am so thankful and so grateful and so happy. Thank you to every single one of you that have subscribed to this channel. Don't forget, if you have not, please hit that subscribe button. I'm sorry guys. Let me show you what's going on down here. Say hi. Say hi, honey. Hi. Oh. That's the baby. Okay guys, let's get started. Without further ado, this case is about the disappearance of Amanda Jones. So let me start by saying Amanda K. Jones was a resident of Hillsboro, Missouri. Okay, this is a little small town, about 2,500 people. It's one of those little quaint, happy, good towns that you can actually do stuff like leave your doors unlocked and put something on your front porch and it'll actually be there the next morning. Hillsboro also has a really low crime rate. So in 2004, when Amanda went missing, most people expected it to be solved, as far as the case to be solved, very quickly, especially because most people knew who they thought was guilty of it. Sadly, 13 years later, the case is still unsolved. A lot of people are frustrated. A ton of her family are hurt, sad, and angered. And the more I tell you about this case, the more you'll know why. Okay, so Amanda K. Jones was a single mother. Oh my gosh, I totally forgot. I'm supposed to be putting on some makeup. Okay, so Amanda Jones was a single mom, and she was the mother to a 4-year-old at the time named Hannah. Now, she and her ex-husband Jeffrey Jones were the parents to Hannah. Amanda and Jeffrey got married in 1999, but the marriage only lasted until 2000, but they did not officially divorce until 2002. So Amanda had custody of her daughter, and she worked as a loan administrator at a bank in Eagle, Missouri, which is like a suburb, a really close town to where she already lived. And I just got makeup all over my nose. Great. So in December of 2004, the bank that she worked for, was hosting a Christmas party. And it was at this Christmas party that Amanda met Brian Westfall. So let me give you the 411 on Bri Bri. So Bri Bri was a computer instructor at a nearby college. It was Jefferson College, and he was a volunteer groundskeeper at Hillsborough Civic Center. Okay, so it seems like he could have a good side. I mean, he's volunteering and, you know, all of that stuff. She probably thought he was a good guy. Now, she met him because he was bartending at the Christmas party that her company was hosting. So that's how those two met up and connected. So they struck up a conversation and they hit it off super quickly. And Amanda was thinking that she had found her Mr. Right, honey. She had no idea he was just the Mr. Right now, because Brian was full of all kinds of shit. Let me tell you about it. So the two began dating, and as quickly as they kind of caught on, they fizzled back out. So remember I told you that they met in December of 2004. So in February of 2005, they were already done and over by this point. But in February of 2005, Amanda called Bri Bri to let him know that, oops, she was pregnant. So I just sat here for 10 minutes looking at the stuff to do my eyebrows, and then I realized it's already on my desk because I already did my eyebrows. It's that kind of day. So as soon as Amanda told Busted Brian that she was pregnant, he immediately started trying to distance himself from her. And when he did contact her, he was letting her know that he would pay for an abortion if need be. I mean, this guy did everything from, well, it can't be my baby, to how do you know it's mine? If you were with me that fast, you were probably with other guys that fast too. I mean, ladies, he was a real Prince Charming. So when he offered Amanda money to get when Busted Bri Bri offered Amanda money to get an abortion, she was like completely appalled by it. She thought he was such a scumbag, and she just told him, you know what, never mind, don't worry about it. I will just freaking raise the baby on my own. So yeah, so when she said that she would raise the child on her own, Brian informed her that he did not want to have any more contact with her at that time. Now guys, keep in mind, I already said the town that they lived in was about 2,500 people. There's absolutely no way possible that you can live in a town that small and not have contact with someone. You know what I mean? You're going to see them at the mall, the bank, the grocery store, the funeral home, the convenience store, probably the car lot, the strip club. Did I say church? The local cemetery, the pet store. Everywhere you can run into someone, you're gonna see their busted, ugly face there. It's always the people you don't want to run into that you see everywhere. Now, I will say some of the sources that I had checked said that Brian reacted this way because instead of them being in a relationship, like a traditional relationship, they basically just had like a one-night stand, and she became pregnant as a result of this. Now, that is a problem because Busted Bri Bri was in a relationship prior to meeting Amanda. So basically, he was trying to have his cake, eat it too. He had met her, you know, knocked the boots a little bit, got her pregnant, and he knew if that came out, I'm sure his current girlfriend would be like, oh hell no, you gots to go. For anyone wondering, I'm using my BH Cosmetics palette. Why do I have a cat on my shoulder right now? You have no respect for my hustle. You're just gonna sit there, huh? So from that point onward, the two had no contact with each other. Amanda just kind of laid low, continued working, stacking her coins. She kept raising her daughter and also preparing for the birth of her little boy. She had found out it was a boy, and she had decided she was going to name him Hayden Lucas. It was also around this time that she discovered that she was diagnosed with Graves' disease, which is a disease, and it's basically an overactive thyroid. So that, coupled with her being pregnant plus having a 4-year-old at the time, Amanda had a lot on her plate. Let me see if I can get this cat off my neck. Cat removal was a fail. So let's just continue with the story. So Amanda was planning on raising the baby on her own. That was everything they had agreed upon. So when she got a call from Busted Bri Bri, she got a call on Sunday, August 14th, super early, saying that he would like to meet with her at the Hillsborough Community Center. If any of you guys are in super small towns, you know the community center be lit, straight fire. It's popping. So yeah, he asked if she wanted to meet up at the community center to talk about the baby, talk about their future, and also if she wanted to grab a quick lunch at the seafood restaurant named Off the Hook. So Amanda was super surprised, and I'm sure she was a little bit, not flattered, but I'm sure she was a little bit just like relieved and happy that for once it seemed like Busted Bri Bri was stepping up and doing the right thing by wanting to be a part of his future child's life. So Amanda accepted the invitation. She said that she would meet him there at 1 o'clock after she got out. Guess who that is? So she said she would meet him at 1 o'clock after she got out of church with her family for the day. So once church was over, Amanda dropped her daughter off with some family members. She went by Walgreens to get a soda and some hairspray, and then she met Busted Bri Bri at the community center where he was working there around 1 o'clock. So this is where things kind of start to get tricky, so pay close attention. I'm going to try to go slow. So Amanda and Brian reportedly spoke for about an hour, and during this time she received a call from her ex-sister-in-law, who she was still really cool with and friends with. That was around 1:16. Now when the sister-in-law called her, she said Amanda seemed really agitated and was just like, hey, I can't talk right now. She can definitely tell that something was upsetting her. She said that she couldn't talk right then and would call her once she was able to chat, to talk. So not too long after that, Amanda said that she had to use the restroom. That's when the two parted ways, and Brian went back inside of the Civic Community Center. Now at this time, things start to get super muddy. Just listen. Now at around 5 o'clock, Amanda's family start to get really worried. They're like, okay, she should have been home by now. She knows we don't mind watching, you know, Hannah, the little 4-year-old, her daughter, their granddaughter. But they knew that she would have called, and if she was going to be out that late, she would have called to check in, like, hey mom, I'm doing this, blah blah blah, this is happening. So they kept trying to call Amanda on her phone. They're calling Amanda on her cell phone. They're calling Amanda on their cell phone. They're not getting anywhere with it. That can worry anyone. So her sister Carrie decided to go by her house to see if she was there, you know, if everything was okay. She went by there. Absolutely no one was there. So they knew that she was going to be meeting Brian to talk about the future of them and the baby. So they called Brian like, hey, we know that, you know, you met up with her today. Did she say anything about where she was going? Are you guys still together? He said that he had not seen her after they left the restaurant, and he dropped her back off at her car, which was around 2 o'clock p.m. that day. So shortly after that, Brian called back and said, hey, okay, look, I wasn't being truthful. We never went out to eat. We sat and talked for an hour, and after that, the two went their separate ways. But he said as he was leaving the community center at 4 p.m., he saw her car. She was still sitting in the car. Now, at this point, he said that she was speaking on her cell phone, but something about that is not making sense, and let me fill you in. One, who sits in a parking lot and talks to their phone for 2 hours, especially after a somewhat kind of tense conversation? Your first instinct is to get out of there. Secondly, all the windows, he said, on the car were rolled all the way up. Now, this is a problem because Amanda's car, her air conditioning was broken. Keep in mind, this is August in Missouri. It's going to be hot as heck. You aren't sitting in the car with the windows rolled up, with the car engine off, no air conditioning, just sitting in the car. Plus, she's 8.5 months pregnant. Something's not adding up, busted bri. Of course, her family is like, okay, something is not right. So they went to the community center and they see her car. So they're like, oh, good, she's okay. She's not okay. They found the car. They found her purse inside and the door open. They couldn't find Amanda. They couldn't find her keys, and they could not find her cell phone. Okay, you guys, so after all this is going on, Amanda's family is like, oh, hell no. So they immediately call the police. And the police came, and, they took the story and all that. And of course, they wanted to talk to Busted Bri. So at first, he was super cooperative with the police officers and all that. And they were a tad bit suspicious of him from the beginning, just because, how's your story changing like this? Like, first you're saying you guys did go out to eat, which I think he would have stuck with that lie that he did go out to eat with her. But I think for sure he knew that that was something that could be easily traced, you know what I mean? All they would have to do is pull surveillance at whatever restaurant that he said that they were in, and he already knows that they weren't there. So I think that's why he called back to change his story so quickly. So they were super suspicious of him, but they didn't really have like a lot of evidence to go on. And one thing they did find, though, is how he said that she was sitting in the car on the phone when he drove back by her at around 4. Well, the interesting part is when they, oh shoot, epic fail. So the interesting part is when they pulled her phone records, the last phone call that she had received was the one that I told you from her sister-in-law, her ex-sister-in-law, at 1:16 p.m. So it seems really strange that she would have just been sitting in the car for 2 hours with the windows rolled up and no air conditioning, just pretend holding a cell phone. Hello? Is anyone there? Nobody's buying it, Brian. So at that point, and even though his stories have been like hella inconsistent, he really stopped working with the police at that time, and he and his girlfriend lawyered up. Now, side note, how desperate do you have to be to stay with a man that's a suspect in his baby mama murder? Who does that, sis? There are other men out there. Don't nobody want busted bri? So as the investigation continued, the police really did not have much to go on. They did speak to Amanda's ex-husband, and surprisingly, he was super cooperative. He helped them out like every way he could. Like, they had no doubts that he was not involved in her disappearance. There's always the slight chance that someone that is missing could have just chosen to run away for some reason. No one thought Amanda was capable of this, especially without her 4-year-old daughter. So they did watch surrounding hospitals since she was so close to giving birth, just to make sure that, she wasn't there somewhere, had just maybe decided like, oh, I don't even want to do it no more. But no one fitting her description had come in to give birth, and that proved to be a fruitless effort. So, as I told you, Amanda's ex-husband, Jeffrey, had been working with cops. He was really like stepping up, trying to be there because he knew something wasn't right. So he gained custody of their daughter, Hannah. But, he still allowed her to like see that side of the family. He wasn't one of those like crazy ex-husbands like, no, you're mine. You just belong to my side of the family. They don't exist anymore. Jeffrey wasn't like that. He still allowed her to see her family, grandparents, aunt, uncle, whoever. Now, during this time, Hannah had a lot of questions and she was super confused because, you know, how do I go to living with mommy and seeing daddy like on the weekends to now I'm just living with daddy and I've never seen mom again? You know, keep in mind she was 4. And the really sad thing is, just 2 years later, Jeffrey died. Her dad died. So at this point, he didn't really have a strong support system. So she had to move back in with her grandparents. However, I will say that they have done an amazing job raising her. She's now a senior in high school. She's on the dance team. I mean, the little girl is doing extremely well considering all of the turmoil and tragedy and trauma that she's been through. So at this point, it's really unclear what happened to Amanda Jones. Her family, the community, and even some police officers are convinced that Brian had something to do with it, but no one has been truly able to prove anything, you know. But we do have a couple of theories that I wanted to speak with you about, and I wanted you guys to tell me what you think happened to Amanda and who you think had the most to gain by Amanda becoming missing, okay? So the first theory about Amanda Jones is that she just simply walked away to start a new life. Now, this is always suggested in missing persons case because it always has to remain an option because you really just don't know. A lot of people don't believe this theory though because they're saying, look, Amanda was well loved, well liked. I mean, it wasn't a shock or surprise that Busted Bri didn't want to be in the baby's life, you know what I mean? Like maybe if he had just dropped the news on her or something that day, like that would be a plausible suggestion, but even then, like I still don't know. She knew that he didn't want to be in the baby's life and she was fine with that. She had a really loving and supportive family that she was like super tight with. Plus, she had a 4-year-old adorable little girl that she wouldn't just up and leave. However, it seemed highly unlikely that Amanda would just get up and walk away and leave everything behind. Number 2, if she walked away, how did she go? Her car was still there. She did take the keys, but her purse was there. No money was missing. How was she going to start a new life? So the next theory was, well, maybe Amanda was abducted by a stranger. Now, of course, this is always a plausible suggestion as well. But it seems like this is just as likely as her, you know, going to start a new life. I mean, yeah, she could have been abducted and adults have been abducted before, but she was parked in the parking lot of a super busy community civic center. It was broad daylight, you know, 4 in the evening, if you believe Busted Bri. There were a lot of people in and out. No one reported seeing anything like that. So next was the ex-husband. Do you think that the ex-husband was involved as far as trying to make Amanda disappear to gain custody of his daughter? Now, that theory has, you know, a little more relevance to it, but there are still a couple of things that aren't off. First, Hannah had lived with her mom since she was born. They were married from 99 to 2000, as I let my mascara dry. But there wasn't a ton of bad blood between them. From everything that I've read, he wasn't a super active parent to begin with. So I really don't think that he would have tried to make Amanda disappear to now gain custody out of the blue. He did receive custody once Amanda disappeared, but it doesn't really seem like that's kind of what he was out for, you know what I mean? Like, I think he was okay being the dad to the side type situation. And last but not least, there is Busted Bri. Let me say the man's name, so in case you guys run into him, you know to run the other way. His name is Brian Westfall. So a lot of people think that he is the prime suspect for a couple of reasons. One, He was the alleged dad of Amanda's unborn son who he did not want. If this child were born, it would threaten everything that he had been building. His reputation for, you know, cheating on his girlfriend, having this child out of wedlock. It would threaten possibly his job, and most importantly, it would threaten his relationship with his girlfriend, who was still dumb enough to stay with him. No shade. Busted Brian was also the last person to see Amanda. So you have this man who does not want to be a father, who has a girlfriend, who wants nothing to do with Amanda. From, you know, what he says, she's just a one-night stand. He's the last person to see her, and his story is when he last saw her, she was sitting in the car on a super hot day in August with the windows rolled up and no air conditioning. Okay, guys, so those are all the theories on the case. Like I said, this case is still unsolved. Who knows? Maybe you guys will come up with a theory so great that everyone will take notice and put the person responsible for this tragedy behind bars. It's sad that this mom didn't get a chance to see her daughter grow up. You know, didn't get a chance to bring her son in this world. It's just a really sad story, like, all the way around. Okay, guys, this is the finished makeup look today. In case you didn't know it, I have my hair piled on top of my head in a bun because it's been that kind of day, hunty. Don't forget to let me know what you thought of this case. Shoot me a comment down below. I would love to hear it. As always, if you have a good juicy case that you'd like me to talk about, drop it in the comment section. So definitely let me know. If you have not, give me a thumbs up for this video. What the hell is wrong with me? I took a Benadryl early. I'm very drowsy and very delirious. Also, if you have not yet, go on and smash that subscribe button. I will see you in the next video for another true crime, ASMR, missing person, something video. Until then, peace out, folks.